couple days ago, I was hanging out in my apartment, and I looked outside the window, and arguably the worst thing that can happen to someone happened to me. A cicada died on my balcony. It was like this big. I'm barely here to tell you about the story now, but I know what you're thinking.
You were afraid of a dead bug behind glass and probably a screen? Little bro thinks toothpaste is too spicy.
And you know what? Yeah, actually. So it got me thinking, I should go to therapy. But I don't have a BetterHelp sponsor yet, so I did the next best thing. Hey Google, why am I afraid of bugs?
There's a hospital a couple miles away. You want me to find coupons for Valium?
What? No, I mean, like, what makes something scary to humans?
Have you seen these clips from Scary Movie? They're hilarious. I'll send you the YouTube link.
The problem is, Googling wasn't very helpful even after I added the word Reddit to my search. But it turns out there simply isn't a clear answer for how we get fears. Most sources agree that fears develop based on a myriad of factors: genetic, environmental, societal, informational. In other words, but this still didn't answer my question. I wanted to know why I'm afraid of bugs. As long as I can remember, they've made me uncomfortable, but as far as I know, I've never been seriously injured by one. I mean, sure, I've been stung by a wasp, but who hasn't? It's not like I have a traumatic history with insects. I'm well aware it's irrational. I mean, what are the chances of getting hurt by a bug? It's not like being afraid of sharks. Here's what I did find. Most psychologists seem to agree we're not born with fears, we learn them. Except for the fear of accidentally texting the person you're gossiping about. That appears cross-culturally and from fertilization. There's a study that suggests babies don't demonstrate fears until about 8 to 12 months, and then they learn them in lots of ways. If you get bit by a cat, you might develop a fear of cats. You can adopt others' fears, especially from your parents. Even hearing information like dogs can hurt you might conceive a fear. Some psychologists hypothesize that certain fears could be evolutionarily linked to survival and thus are easier to attain. For example, the fear of not subscribing to Mimir and missing out on a video that details the exact problem you're facing right now. All fears are accompanied by physical symptoms, but I was disappointed to learn that this behavior is unique to me. Most people experience the classic fight, flight, or freeze response the old part of our brains are enamored with, which can produce trembling, dizziness, shortness of breath, or a fast heart rate. One British website listed diarrhea as a physical symptom of fear, so does anyone know what's going on over there? Regardless, fear is not purely psychological, and you can even learn to be afraid of the physical symptoms of fear without necessarily understanding what catalysts precede them. In other words, fear of fear. So I probably saw one of my family members get scared by a bug, had a physical reaction, and blah, 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 now here we are. I mean, at least it's not a phobia. Now, going into this, I thought the difference between fears and phobias are that phobias are stupider. Like, the first recorded phobia was a guy named Nicanor who was afraid of flute music at night. Reasonably stupid. But then I read this PDF that says a fear becomes a phobia if the fear is out of proportion to the danger and lasts for more than 6 months. So if you've been scared of cockroaches for at least 5 months and 32 days, congratulations. Welcome to the club. Treatment for phobias involve therapy, sometimes medications, and exposure to the thing you're afraid of. The exposure element shares some similarities with practices I talked about in this video regarding anxiety. But the cycle of violence between me and bugs has gone on for far too long to spend time together peacefully now, so that wasn't an option. I did, however, have one last trick up my sleeve. Adrenaline junkies. Skydiving is undeniably stupid. It's stupid. It's a stupid thing to want to do. A 1960 study found that 92% of babies refused to cross a glass walkway that looked like a sheer drop, even when prompted by their mothers. In other words, we don't really want to fall to our deaths, even as infants. And yet, skydiving is a billion-dollar industry. It's also far from the only instance where people have transformed fear into amusement. Rock climbing, bungee jumping, deep sea diving, spelunking, making a political tweet, even watching scary movies shouldn't make that much sense. So why are these individuals, these absolute freaks, able to enjoy things that should make us afraid? Well, according to a 2009 study, norepinephrine could be a key factor in a person becoming dependent. Okay. And some studies show that when adrenaline junkies stop engaging in intense, exciting activities, they can begin to feel Withdrawal symptoms? Okay. One 2013 study suggests risk takers were more likely to have a personality that showed traits of low conscientiousness combined with high extroversion, high neuroticism, or both. Huh. So that's a thing. So in trying to understand my fear of bugs, I uncovered some helpful bits of information. If you have an irrational fear that's lasted for longer than 6 months, you don't have a fear. You have a phobia. People in England get diarrhea when they're afraid. And if you enjoy scary movies, you're an unscrupulous, neurotic, norepinephrine chemically dependent addict. And now you understand fear as well as Google does. Do you like knowledge? Are you sick of being the laughingstock at every intellectual gathering? Don't you wish there was a way to have easy access to a veritable plethora of books and resources? Then boy, do I have a deal for you. Let me introduce you to Shortform, the sponsor of today's video. I really like Shortform because when I don't have the time or desire to read every page of a book, Shortform's an amazing tool. It has different length summaries depending on how in-depth you want to get, and builds on concepts by cross-referencing ideas with other books on the platform. I think it's worth checking out, and if you go to shortform.com/Mimir, you get a free trial and 20% off the annual subscription. The link's in the description. How is that? Can I see my family yet? Please go buy